Is there anybody in this room? Yes, there's somebody in this room. Is there anybody speaking to you? Yes, there's somebody speaking to me. Is there anybody sitting there on that chair? Yes, there's somebody sitting there on that chair. Is there anybody sitting on the floor? No, there isn't anybody sitting on the floor. Is there anybody in this room wearing a hat? No, there isn't anybody in this room wearing a hat. Is there anybody in the corridor? No, there isn't anybody in the corridor. Who's speaking English in this room? We are speaking English in this room. Who's speaking French in this room? Nobody is speaking French in this room. Who's wearing clothes in this room? We are wearing clothes in this room. We are wearing clothes in this room. Who's wearing a hat in this room? Nobody's wearing a hat in this room. Who's giving you an English lesson? You are giving me an English lesson. Who's in the corridor? Nobody is in the corridor. Walk. What am I doing? You are walking. Where am I walking to? You are walking to the window. Do you like walking? Yes, I like walking. Sometimes I run. My pace is 6. In English, we prefer to say Juliana's shirt and not the shirt of Juliana. Juliana's book and not the book of Juliana. Both are right, but Juliana's book is the most used. Juliana's pen, Juliana's hands, Juliana's box, Juliana's ears, Juliana's body. Is this Juliana's pen? Yes, it's Juliana's pen. Let's practice the talk, right? Let's practice talk. Let's unleash this tongue. Is this Mr. White's shirt? Yes, it's Mr. White's shirt. Is this Mr. White's arms? No, it isn't Mr. White's arms. It's Mrs. White's arms. Is this Mr. White's ear? No, it isn't Mr. White's ear. It's Master White ear. What's my right hand doing? Your right hand's moving up and down, up and down. What am I doing? You are sitting down. What am I doing? You are standing up. Do you sit down after the lesson? No, I don't sit down after the lesson. I stand up after the lesson. The negative of can is cannot, and the contraction of cannot is can't. Can you speak Chinese? No, I can't speak Chinese. Can you put the table into your pocket? Pocket. Can you put the table into your pocket? No, I cannot put the table into my pocket. Why not? Because the table is large and the pocket is small. Can you touch the ceiling? No, I cannot touch the ceiling. I can't. How much is a quarter of 40? 10 is a quarter of 40. How much is a quarter of 1,000? 250 is a quarter of 1,000. What's the quarter of 10? 2.5 is a quarter of 10. What's a quarter of 5? 1.25 is a quarter of 5. I hate numbers. Are you teaching me English? No, I'm not teaching you English. I'm learning English from you. Do you learn Spanish? No, I don't learn Spanish. I learn English. Do you like learning this language? Yes, I like learning this language. Does he likes learning a language? Yes, she likes learning a language. Is English grammar difficult? No, English grammar isn't difficult. It's easy. Is Chinese an easy language to learn? No, Chinese isn't an easy language to learn. It's a difficult language to learn. Is it difficult for you to speak your language? No, it isn't difficult for me to speak my language. It's easy. Portuguese is very difficult, even for us Brazilians. Is it generally easy for people to write with their left hand? No, it isn't generally easy for people to write with their left hand. What's my pen doing? Your pen is hanging between your fingers and your thumb. What is my pen doing? Your pen is hanging between your finger and your thumb. Is there a light hanging from the ceiling? Is there a light hanging from the ceiling? Yes, there's a light hanging from the ceiling. No, there isn't a light hanging from the ceiling. There is a light that never goes out. Is there a map hanging on the wall? Yes, there's a map hanging on the wall. Or no, there isn't a map hanging on the wall. Do you go home after the lesson by car, by bus, by train, or do you walk? I go home after the lesson by car. Which do you prefer, to walk or go by car? I prefer car. Do you come to school by train or by bus? I come to school by bus. Does she come to school by train or by bus? She comes to school by bus. Are you married? Yes, I am married. Or no, I'm not married. I'm single. Is Mr. White single? No, Mr. White isn't single. He's married. Is Miss White married? No, Miss White isn't married. She's single. Has Mr. Brown got a wife? Yes, Mr. Brown's got a wife. Is Mr. Brown single? No, Mr. Brown isn't single. He's married. Is Miss Brown married? No, Miss Brown isn't married. She's single. Has Mr. Brown got a wife? Yes, Mr. Brown's got a wife. Has Mrs. Brown got a husband? Yes, Mrs. Brown's got a husband. Is Mrs. Brown's husband standing behind the house? No, Mrs. Brown's husband isn't standing behind the house. He's standing in front of the house. What's your mother's name? My mother's name is Ceci. What's your father's name? My father's name is Walter. What's your father's wife's name? What's your mother's husband's name? My mother's husband's name is. What do we call this? We call this an arm. What do we call the people in France? We call the people in France French. What do we call the thing we wear on our head? We call the thing we wear on our heads hat. What do people generally call their mother and father? People generally call their mother and father mom and dad. Are both my hands on the table? No, both your hands aren't on the table. One's on the table and the other's on your arm. Are both my hands closed? No, both your hands aren't closed. One's closed and the other is open. Are both these pens red? No, both these pens aren't red. One is black and the other is red. One is black and the other is red. What is this? It's a book. What kind of book is this? It's a grammar book. What kind of room is this? Is my bedroom. It's a bedroom where we sleep. What kind of shirt is this? It's a football shirt.